Captain Marcus Reed stood in the command center of the human battleship Valiant Dawn, watching the holographic display show the final moments of the Scytheran fleet. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers across the darkness of space. After 3 years of brutal warfare, humanity was finally winning. The war had started when the Scytheran Empire had attacked Earth's outer colonies without warning. Thousands of innocent people had died in those first strikes. The aliens had been merciless, efficient, and seemingly unstoppable. They were insectoid creatures, standing over 7 feet tall with chitinous armor that could deflect most conventional weapons. Their technology was superior, their numbers overwhelming. But humans had something the Scytherans didn't expect. Humans were stubborn. Humans adapted. Humans fought dirty when they had to. And most importantly, humans never gave up. Marcus had lost his younger brother in the attack on Colony 7. He had every reason to hate the Scytherans, every reason to want them wiped from existence. And yet, as he stared at the tactical display, something felt hollow about this victory. "Sir, we're receiving a distress signal from the Scytheran command ship," Lieutenant Chen reported from her station. "It's badly damaged. Life support is failing." Admiral Kovac appeared on the communication screen, his weathered face showing no emotion. "Captain Reed, your ship is closest to the enemy command vessel. You have your orders. No survivors." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Those orders had been standard for months now. The Scytherans took no prisoners, so humanity had stopped offering mercy. It was a cycle of violence that seemed to have no end. "Understood, Admiral," Marcus replied, but his finger hesitated over the weapons control. "Captain?" Chen looked at him with questioning eyes. The Scytheran command ship was listing badly, venting atmosphere into space. Its weapons were offline. It posed no threat. Inside that ship were living beings, dying slowly in the cold vacuum of space. "Scan the ship," Marcus ordered. "How many life signs?" Chen's fingers danced across her console. 23, sir. Most are fading fast. Wait, there's one signature that's different, stronger. It's in the central chamber." "Can you identify it?" "Running it through our database now." Chen's eyes widened. "Sir, I think it's the Queen." A shocked silence fell over the bridge. The Scytheran Queen was a myth to most humans. A boogeyman whispered about in military briefings. The Scytherans operated with a hive mind structure, and the Queen was the central node. Intelligence suggested that she coordinated entire fleets, that her telepathic reach extended across star systems. If they could capture or kill the Queen, the war would effectively be over. "Sir, Admiral Kovac is hailing us again," the communications officer announced. Marcus ignored it. He was thinking about his brother, about all the people who had died. He was thinking about the orders to show no mercy. But he was also thinking about what it meant to be human. Humans had fought because they believed they were better than the monsters who attacked them. If they became monsters themselves, what was the point? "Prepare a boarding team," Marcus said quietly. "We're going in." "Sir?" Chen looked shocked. "The Admiral's orders." "I heard the orders, Lieutenant, but that ship is defeated. They're not a threat. We're going to board it, and we're going to see what's really on that vessel." Marcus assembled a team of 12 Marines, all volunteers who had fought through the worst battles of the war. They wore heavy combat armor and carried plasma rifles. Marcus led them personally, something that made his XO protest loudly, but he wouldn't send his people anywhere he wouldn't go himself. The boarding shuttle latched onto the Scytheran ship's hull with a metallic clang. Cutting torches flared to life, carving through the alien metal. Atmosphere hissed out, quickly replaced by the breathable air from their shuttle. Inside the Scytheran ship, emergency lights flickered red and amber. Bodies of Scytheran warriors lay scattered in the corridors, their chitinous armor cracked and broken. Some had died from explosive decompression, others from wounds sustained in battle. Marcus felt no satisfaction at the sight, only a grim acknowledgement of war's brutality. "The Queen's signature is 3 levels down," Corporal Hayes reported, checking his scanner. "Central chamber, like the lieutenant said." They moved through the ship carefully, weapons raised. But there was no resistance. The Zitharans who still lived were too wounded to fight, their compound eyes tracking the humans with something that looked like resignation. The doors to the central chamber had been blasted open from the inside, as if someone had tried to escape but failed. Marcus stepped through, his rifle raised, and then stopped. The chamber was vast, with walls that seemed to be made of organic material, pulsing with a faint bioluminescent glow. In the center, connected to countless tubes and cables, was the Queen. She was nothing like the warrior drones Marcus had fought. She was massive, easily twice the size of her soldiers, but there was an elegance to her form. Her carapace was deep purple, almost black, with patterns that seemed to shift in the dim light. Her head was crowned with crystalline structures that glowed softly. 6 arms hung limply at her sides, and her legs were partially severed, pinned under debris from an explosion. She was dying. Her compound eyes focused on Marcus, and for a moment he felt something brush against his mind. Not words exactly, but impressions. Pain, sorrow, acceptance. "Sir, we should finish this," Sergeant Park said, his voice tight. "End the war here and now." Marcus raised his rifle, aiming at the Queen's head. His finger rested on the trigger. All he had to do was squeeze. His brother would be avenged. The war would be over. Humanity would be safe. The Queen didn't move, didn't try to defend herself. She simply watched him with those alien eyes, and Marcus felt that presence in his mind again. This time he sensed something else: curiosity. She was curious about what he would do. "She's telepathic," Marcus said aloud, his rifle still raised. "She can feel what I'm thinking." "Then she knows you're about to kill her," Park replied. "No," Marcus said slowly, lowering his weapon. "She knows I'm deciding whether to kill her." "Captain, the Admiral's orders were clear." "The Admiral isn't here," Marcus interrupted. "I am. And I'm making a different call." He holstered his rifle and stepped closer to the Queen. Her eyes tracked his movement, that alien presence in his mind growing stronger. Now he could sense emotions more clearly. Fear, yes, but also something else. Hope? "Can you understand me?" Marcus asked. The Queen's mandibles moved slightly. No sound came out, but Marcus heard a voice in his head, feminine and ancient, speaking in perfect English. "I understand, human. Your language is simple compared to the symphony of thought my people share." Marcus's team raised their weapons, but he held up a hand. "Stand down. She's not attacking." "Why would I attack?" The Queen's voice echoed in his mind. "I am dying. My ship is destroyed. My children are dead or dying. I have already lost." "Then why fight us in the first place?" Marcus demanded, anger creeping into his voice. "Why attack our colonies? Why kill thousands of innocent people?" The Queen was silent for a long moment, and Marcus felt waves of emotion washing over him through their mental connection. Regret, desperation, and something that might have been shame. "Because we were dying," she finally answered. "Our star was failing. Our worlds were becoming cold and dead. We needed new homes, and your worlds were perfect for us. In our desperation, we became monsters. We told ourselves that we were simply surviving, that any species would do the same. But I see now that we were wrong. We could have asked. We could have negotiated. Instead, we chose violence, and it has led us to this end." Marcus felt his anger warring with something else: compassion, understanding. He had come here expecting to find a monster, but instead, he found someone who was defeated and regretful. "Sir, what are you doing?" Hayes asked nervously. "We need to complete the mission." Marcus looked at his team. These were good people who had fought hard for humanity's survival. They deserved to see the enemy destroyed. But would killing a dying, helpless being make them heroes or simply executioners? "Get medical equipment from the shuttle," Marcus ordered, "and contact the Valiant Dawn. Tell them we need a containment field and medical support." "Sir, you can't be serious." "That's an order, Corporal." The next hour was chaos. Admiral Kovac screamed through the communication link, threatening court-martial and worse. Marcus's own crew was divided, with some supporting his decision and others calling it treason. But Marcus had made his choice, and he wouldn't back down. The medical team worked frantically to stabilize the Queen, cutting away the debris that pinned her and sealing her wounds with emergency foam. She drifted in and out of consciousness, her mental presence flickering like a dying candle. "Why?" her voice whispered in his mind during one lucid moment. "Why spare me? I ordered the attacks on your colonies. The blood of your people is on my hands." Marcus didn't have a good answer. Maybe he was tired of killing. Maybe he wanted to prove that humans were better than their worst instincts. Or maybe he just couldn't bring himself to execute a helpless being, no matter what crimes they had committed. "Because mercy is a choice," he finally said, "and I'm choosing it." The Queen's eyes seemed to brighten slightly. "Then you are stronger than I was. Captain Marcus Reed. You have defeated me in more ways than one." As they transported the Queen to the Valiant Dawn's medical bay, Marcus knew his life would never be the same. He had disobeyed direct orders from an admiral. He had spared the enemy's leader. He might face a firing squad for this decision. But as he watched the medical team work to save the alien Queen's life, he felt no regret. He had made a choice that defined who he was and what humanity could be. Whether that choice would lead to peace or further tragedy, only time would tell. The Queen was placed in a reinforced containment chamber, surrounded by guards and monitoring equipment. As the medical team finally stabilized her vital signs, she opened her eyes and looked directly at Marcus through the transparent barrier. "You have given me something I did not deserve," her voice spoke in his mind. "And I will not forget this mercy, Captain. What comes next will change everything." Marcus didn't understand what she meant, but he felt the weight of those words settle into his bones. He had set something in motion, something that would ripple out in ways he couldn't predict. The war might be over, but a new chapter was just beginning. The military tribunal convened exactly 72 hours after Marcus brought the Zitharan Queen aboard the Valiant Dawn. He stood in the center of the chamber, his uniform stripped of rank insignia, facing 5 stern-faced officers who held his fate in their hands. Admiral Kovac sat in the middle, his expression carved from stone. To his left was General Morrison, who had lost her entire family in the Colony 7 attack. To his right sat 3 other high-ranking officers, each of whom had their own reasons to hate the Zitharans. "Captain Marcus Reed," Admiral Kovac began, his voice cold and formal. "You stand accused of disobeying direct orders during combat operations, endangering your crew, and providing aid to an enemy combatant. How do you plead?" "Guilty, sir," Marcus replied without hesitation. There was no point in denying what he had done. He had made his choice with full knowledge of the consequences. A murmur rippled through the observation gallery where crew members and officers had gathered to watch the proceedings. Marcus caught sight of Lieutenant Chen in the crowd, her expression worried. "You don't deny the charges?" General Morrison asked, her voice sharp with barely contained fury. "You admit that you deliberately disobeyed orders and chose to save the alien responsible for the deaths of millions of humans?" "I saved a dying being who posed no threat," Marcus corrected calmly. "The war was already won. The Zitharan fleet was destroyed. Executing a helpless prisoner wouldn't have brought back the dead. It would have just made us killers instead of soldiers." "Pretty words," Kovac said coldly. "But they don't change the fact that you violated military law. In wartime, such actions typically carry only one punishment: death. The word hung unspoken in the air, but everyone in the room knew what he meant. Before the Admiral could continue, the doors to the chamber burst open. A young lieutenant rushed in, his face flushed with urgency. "Admirals, generals, I apologize for the interruption, but something's happening with the prisoner. The Queen. She's asking to speak to the tribunal." "Asking?" Morrison's eyes narrowed. "How can she ask anything? She's in a containment cell." "Telepathically, ma'am. She's broadcasting a message that anyone near her chamber can hear. She says she has information vital to Captain Reed's trial." The officers exchanged glances. Kovach's jaw tightened. "This is highly irregular." "Nevertheless, sir, her message is quite insistent. She claims that if the tribunal executes Captain Reed, humanity will lose something of immeasurable value." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. He had barely spoken to the Queen since bringing her aboard, their interactions limited to brief mental exchanges through the containment barrier. What could she possibly offer that would matter to these officers? "Very well," Kovach said after a long pause. "We'll hear what she has to say, but this tribunal will not be manipulated by alien tricks." They moved the proceedings to the observation deck adjacent to the Queen's containment chamber. She lay in the center of the room, still connected to medical equipment, her massive form dwarfing the humans who guarded her. But her eyes were alert now, fully conscious, and Marcus felt her presence brush against his mind like a gentle wave. "Honored leaders of humanity." Her voice resonated in everyone's minds, causing several officers to flinch. "I understand that you wish to punish Captain Reed for showing me mercy. This is natural. I am your enemy. I ordered attacks on your worlds. I deserve your hatred." "Then you understand why we must enforce military discipline," Kovach replied coldly. "This isn't personal. It's about maintaining order." "I understand more than you realize," the Queen continued. "I have lived for 3,000 of your years. I have witnessed the rise and fall of 17 civilizations across 9 star systems. I have seen empires built on strength crumble to dust, and I have seen small acts of kindness reshape entire worlds." "Get to the point," Morrison demanded. "Why should we care what you think?" "Because I wish to give humanity a gift," the Queen said simply. "And that gift can only be delivered through Captain Reed." "A gift?" Kovach laughed bitterly. "What could you possibly give us except more lies?" "Knowledge," the Queen replied. "The accumulated wisdom of my species, stored in my neural matrix. Medical advances that will cure diseases your people haven't even discovered yet. Technology that will revolutionize your society. Star charts leading to habitable worlds far beyond Zitharan or human space. All of this I offer freely." The chamber fell silent. Marcus could see the greed warring with suspicion on the faces of the tribunal members. "Why would you give us this?" Morrison asked, her voice heavy with doubt. "What do you gain?" "Redemption," the Queen said softly, and Marcus felt genuine sorrow flowing through their mental connection. "I cannot undo the harm I have caused. I cannot bring back your dead. But perhaps I can ensure that my species' knowledge doesn't die with me. Perhaps I can turn our final act from one of destruction to one of creation." "And why does this require Captain Reed?" Kovach demanded. "Because the knowledge transfer requires a neural link, a joining of minds that can only occur with someone I trust completely. Your captain showed me mercy when he had every reason to kill me. In that moment, he demonstrated a strength of character that transcends species. He is the bridge between our peoples, the one individual who has proven capable of seeing beyond hatred." Marcus felt everyone's eyes turn to him. His heart was pounding. A neural link with an alien queen? The idea was terrifying and fascinating in equal measure. "This is a trick," Morrison said flatly. "She wants to infiltrate a human mind, Plant some kind of telepathic bomb that will destroy us from within." "I understand your suspicion," the Queen replied calmly. "If our positions were reversed, I would likely think the same. But consider this: I am dying. Your medical team has given me perhaps 3 more weeks of life. My neural pathways are degrading, and without connection to my hive, I cannot sustain myself. If I wished to harm humanity, I would simply do nothing and take all our knowledge to my grave." "She's right," a new voice spoke up. Dr. Sarah Chen, the chief medical officer, stepped forward from the observation area. "I've been monitoring her condition. Her neural matrix is collapsing. We've tried everything to stabilize it, but without the telepathic connection to other Zytherans, her brain is essentially shutting down. So this gift comes with a time limit," Kovac observed. "All gifts do," the Queen responded. "But this one comes with a choice. Humanity can reject my offer, execute Captain Reed for his mercy, and learn nothing from this war except how to kill more efficiently. Or you can accept that even in war, there are moments of grace that transcend enmity." The tribunal deliberated for 3 hours. Marcus waited in a holding cell, his mind racing with possibilities and fears. A neural link with an alien mind. What would that mean? Would he still be himself afterward? Would the Queen's thoughts merge with his own? When they finally called him back to the chamber, Admiral Kovac's expression had softened slightly, though his voice remained formal. "Captain Reed, this tribunal has decided to postpone your sentence pending the outcome of the Queen's proposed knowledge transfer. If she is telling the truth and provides valuable intelligence, your actions may be viewed as strategic rather than mutinous. If this proves to be a deception, both you and the Queen will face the full consequences." "I understand, sir," Marcus replied. "However," General Morrison added sharply, "you will undergo the neural link procedure under strict medical supervision. Any sign of mental corruption or alien influence, and we will terminate the connection immediately, even if it kills you both. Is that clear?" "Crystal clear, ma'am." The procedure was scheduled for the following morning. Marcus spent the night in his quarters, unable to sleep, staring at the ceiling and wondering if he had just agreed to his own mental destruction. At dawn, he entered the medical bay, where the Queen had been moved to a specialized chamber. Dr. Chen and her team had prepared a neural interface device, a crown of delicate sensors that would facilitate the telepathic connection. "Are you ready for this, Captain?" Dr. Chen asked, her voice gentle but concerned. "No," Marcus admitted, "but I'm going to do it anyway." He sat in the chair across from the Queen's containment field. She watched him with those multifaceted eyes, and he felt her presence in his mind, stronger now, more focused. "I will be gentle," her voice promised. "But I cannot lie to you, Captain Reed. This will change you. You will carry pieces of me within your mind forever. Are you certain you wish to proceed?" Marcus thought about his brother, about the colonists who had died, about the endless cycle of violence that had defined the war. He thought about the future, about what humanity could become if they chose knowledge over vengeance. "I'm certain," he said aloud. Dr. Chen placed the neural interface crown on his head. The Queen extended one of her long, delicate limbs, and a similar device was attached to her crystalline crown structures. The machines hummed to life, establishing the connection. At first, Marcus felt nothing. Then, like a door opening in his mind, the Queen's consciousness flooded in. It wasn't like drowning. It was like suddenly existing in 2 places at once. He could feel her ancient memories, stretching back millennia. He saw Zytheran worlds in their prime, cities of crystal and chitin that gleamed under violet suns. He felt the collective warmth of the hive mind, thousands of consciousnesses linked in perfect harmony. But he also felt the cold creeping in as their star died, the desperation of a species facing extinction, the terrible choice to become conquerors rather than accept death, the weight of every order she had given, every life she had taken in the name of survival. "I am so sorry." Her voice whispered through their joined minds. For all of it. For every moment of pain we caused. And Marcus felt his own memories flowing in return. His childhood on Earth, his brother's laugh, the joy of his first spacewalk, the horror of seeing Colony 7 destroyed, the weight of command, the burden of deciding who lived and who died. The Queen absorbed it all, and he felt her weeping in the way that Zitherans wept, through colors and frequencies that human eyes couldn't see, but human minds could somehow sense. But underneath the shared pain and regret, something else was building. Knowledge poured into Marcus's mind like water filling a vast reservoir. Scientific principles he barely understood, mathematical formulas that would take human researchers decades to decipher, medical techniques that could regenerate damaged tissue, extend lifespans, cure diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Star charts unfolded in his consciousness, showing habitable worlds scattered across the galaxy like jewels. Diplomatic protocols for peaceful contact with other species the Zitharans had encountered. Technology schematics for engines that could bend space itself, for weapons that could protect without destroying, for agricultural systems that could feed billions. It was overwhelming. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. "This is too much," Marcus gasped, his voice breaking. "I can't hold all of this." "You don't have to hold it alone," the Queen replied gently. "I am embedding neural markers that will allow you to access specific knowledge when needed. Think of it as a library rather than a flood. The information is there, waiting for you to discover it." Hours passed, though Marcus lost all sense of time. The medical team monitored his vital signs, ready to terminate the connection if his brain showed signs of damage. But miraculously, his neural patterns adapted, reshaping themselves to accommodate the foreign knowledge. Finally, as the sun set over the Valiant Dawn's observation windows, the Queen's presence began to fade from his mind. "I am running out of time," she whispered. "My neural matrix cannot sustain this much longer. But I have given you everything of value that my people have learned. Use it well, Captain. Build something better than we did." "Wait," Marcus called out mentally. "What happens to you now?" "I will fade," she replied simply. "My consciousness will disperse, and I will return to the cosmic dust from which we all came. But a part of me will live on in you, in the knowledge I have shared. Perhaps that is enough." "Is there no way to save you?" Marcus felt an unexpected surge of grief at the thought of her death. "You already saved me, Captain," the Queen said, and he felt warmth radiating from her thoughts. "You gave me the chance to die with honor rather than as a monster. You showed me that mercy exists, even in the darkest times. That is a gift beyond measure." The connection broke, leaving Marcus gasping in his chair. Dr. Chen rushed to his side, checking his readings, shouting orders to her team. But Marcus barely heard her. His mind was reeling, expanding, trying to process everything that had just been given to him. He looked at the Queen through the containment field. She seemed smaller now, diminished. Her glow was fading, her movements weaker. She had given him everything she had left, and it had cost her the last of her strength. "Thank you," Marcus whispered, knowing she could still hear him telepathically even though their deep link was broken. "No, Captain," her fading voice replied. "Thank you for reminding me what it means to be more than a survivor. Thank you for showing me that even ancient beings can learn new truths." As the medical team helped Marcus to his feet, he knew that his life had been irrevocably changed. The knowledge in his mind was incredible, revolutionary, potentially world-altering. But more than that, he carried the weight of a dying species' final hope that their existence had mattered, that they had left something of value behind. The tribunal would have to decide what to do with this knowledge, how to verify it, how to use it. But Marcus already knew that the Queen had been telling the truth. He could feel the authenticity of every memory, every piece of data. This was real, and it was extraordinary. 14 days after the neural link, humanity's leading scientists gathered aboard the Valiant Dawn to verify the knowledge Marcus had received. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, Earth's foremost xenobiologist, was the first to interview him, and her skepticism was evident in every question. "Captain Reed, I need you to describe the Zitharan cellular regeneration process," she said, her tablet ready to record his response. Marcus closed his eyes, reaching into the vast library now embedded in his mind. The information came easily, like remembering a childhood memory. He began describing complex biological processes involving crystalline proteins and electromagnetic field manipulation. He drew diagrams from memory, equations that seemed to flow from his hands without conscious thought. Dr. Warren's expression changed from doubt to shock to excitement as he spoke. When he finished, she sat back in her chair, her hands trembling slightly. "This is revolutionary," she whispered. "If even half of what you've described is accurate, we could cure cancer, regenerate organs, potentially extend human lifespan by decades. We need to begin testing immediately." Over the next week, specialist after specialist came to interview Marcus. Physicists marveled at the propulsion theories he described. Medical researchers scrambled to verify the pharmaceutical formulas he recalled. Agronomists wept openly when he explained techniques for growing food in previously barren environments. Every piece of knowledge checked out, every formula worked, every technology schema was viable. Admiral Kovacs called Marcus to his ready room on the 8th day. The Admiral's stern expression had softened considerably since the tribunal, replaced by something that might have been wonder. "Captain Reed, I owe you an apology," Kovacs said without preamble. "I was ready to execute you for treason. Instead, you may have just secured humanity's future for the next 1,000 years. "I didn't do it alone, sir," Marcus replied quietly. "The Queen made the real sacrifice." "Speaking of which," Kovacs's expression grew somber, "Dr. Chen says she's failing rapidly. Days at most. She's asked to speak with you." Marcus found the Queen's chamber dimmed, the lights low to reduce strain on her fading consciousness. She lay perfectly still, her bioluminescence reduced to a faint flicker. The medical equipment around her registered vital signs that were slowly, inevitably declining. "Captain," her voice whispered in his mind, weaker now but still clear. "You came." "Of course I came," Marcus said, pulling a chair close to the containment barrier. "How are you feeling?" A wave of bitter amusement washed over him through their telepathic connection. "I am dying, as we both knew I would, but I am grateful to die with purpose." "Your scientists have begun verifying the knowledge?" "Every piece of it checks out," Marcus confirmed. "You've given us centuries' worth of advancement, technologies that will change everything. Why? Why give us so much?" The Queen was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, Marcus felt deep emotion behind every word. "Because I finally understood what my species lost when we chose conquest over cooperation. We were once explorers, seekers of knowledge, builders of beauty. Then fear made us warriors, and war made us monsters. But you, Captain Marcus Reed, showed me that it's never too late to choose a different path." "I was just one person making one choice," Marcus said softly. "And that one choice rippled outward," the Queen replied. "It gave me the courage to make my own choice, to give rather than take, to build rather than destroy. Every great change begins with a single decision to be better than our worst selves." Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. Over the past 2 weeks, something unexpected had happened. Despite everything, despite the war and the death and the hatred, he had come to care for this dying alien queen. She carried the memories of an entire civilization, and soon all of that would be gone. "Is there really no way to save you?" he asked, even though he knew the answer. My time is ending, she said gently. But I am not afraid. I have seen so much, lived so long, and in these final days, I have found something I lost millennia ago. Peace. Because of the knowledge transfer? No. The Queen's presence grew warmer in his mind. Because of you. Because you proved that mercy is not weakness. Because you showed me that even ancient hatreds can be overcome. That is worth more than all the technology in the galaxy. A comfortable silence fell between them. Marcus sat with the dying Queen, keeping vigil as her life slowly ebbed away. He thought about all the twists of fate that had led to this moment. If he had followed orders, if he had pulled that trigger, the war would have ended differently. Humanity would have won, but they would have lost something precious in the process. There is one more thing I must tell you, the Queen said suddenly, her mental voice taking on a note of urgency. A secret I have kept until now. What is it? The neural link we shared. It was not just one way. I did not only give you knowledge, I also left something else. A gift that you will not fully understand for years to come. Marcus felt a chill. What kind of gift? Do you remember when I said that my people were telepathic, linked in a hive mind? The Queen asked. That ability was not genetic. It was taught, cultivated over generations, and now I have planted the seeds of that ability in you. You made me telepathic? Marcus's eyes widened. Not immediately. The gift will grow slowly, naturally. Over time, you will find that you can sense the emotions of those around you. Eventually, you may be able to share thoughts with other humans, to build bridges of understanding that transcend words. You will become humanity's first true telepath. Marcus sat back, stunned. Why would you do that? Because communication is the foundation of peace, the Queen explained. Misunderstanding breeds fear, and fear breeds war. But if humans can truly understand each other, truly feel what others feel, it becomes much harder to hate, much easier to find common ground. This could change everything, Marcus breathed. Not just human society, but how we interact with other species. That is my hope, the Queen said. And more than that, I have encoded instructions in your neural matrix, instructions that will allow you to teach this gift to others. Slowly, carefully, you can help humanity evolve beyond words alone. You can help them become something greater. The tribunal will never allow it, Marcus said, thinking of Morrison's suspicious glare. They'll see it as alien contamination. Then you must be careful, the Queen advised. Use the gift wisely. Show them through actions rather than words. Prove that empathy is strength, not weakness. You have already demonstrated the courage to choose mercy. Now you must demonstrate the wisdom to guide others toward that same choice. Over the next 3 days, Marcus visited the Queen as often as his duties allowed. They spoke of many things: her memories of ancient Zitharan culture, his hopes for humanity's future, philosophical discussions about the nature of consciousness and the meaning of existence. And Marcus began to notice the changes in himself. He could feel the emotions of the crew members he passed in the corridors. Lieutenant Chen's relief and pride. Sergeant Park's lingering suspicion mixed with grudging respect. Even Admiral Kovach's careful optimism beneath his stern exterior. On the 14th day, Dr. Chen called Marcus to the medical bay in the middle of the night. He arrived to find the Queen's vital signs failing rapidly. Her bioluminescence had faded to almost nothing. She's been asking for you, Dr. Chen said quietly. I don't think she has long. Marcus entered the chamber alone. The Queen's eyes found him in the darkness, and her presence brushed against his mind one final time, faint as a whisper. Captain, she said, my time has come. I'm here, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. You're not alone. Thank you. Waves of gratitude washed over him through their connection. For everything. For your mercy, your courage, your compassion. You have given my species' final chapter meaning. You gave us so much more, Marcus replied. You've changed the course of human history. Then we have both benefited from this exchange, the Queen said, and Marcus felt her consciousness beginning to fragment, to drift apart like dandelion seeds on the wind. Promise me something, Captain. Anything. Promise me that you will use what I have given you to build bridges, not weapons, to foster understanding, not fear. Promise me that humanity will be better than we were. I promise, Marcus said, tears streaming down his face. We'll be better. I'll make sure of it. Then I can rest. The Queen's voice grew fainter, barely a whisper in his mind. Goodbye, Marcus Reed. You are proof that hope exists in this universe, that even in our darkest moments, we can choose to be kind. Her presence faded completely, leaving a profound silence in Marcus's mind. The medical equipment flatlined, the warning tones filling the chamber. Dr. Chen rushed in with her team, but there was nothing to be done. The last queen of the Zitharan Empire was gone. Marcus stood there for a long time, feeling the weight of loss and legacy pressing down on him. An entire civilization had entrusted him with their knowledge, their final hope for meaning. It was a burden he would carry for the rest of his life. The funeral was held 3 days later. Despite initial resistance, Admiral Kovacs agreed that the Queen deserved military honors. She had been an enemy, yes, but she had also given humanity gifts beyond measure. Her body was committed to space in a ceremony attended by crew members from across the fleet. As Marcus watched her containment chamber drift away into the stars, he felt something stirring in his mind. The seeds she had planted were growing, and he could sense the emotions of everyone around him with crystal clarity. Chen's sadness, Kovacs's contemplation, even Morrison's grudging respect. This was just the beginning. 6 months later, Marcus stood in front of the Unified Earth Council, presenting the first comprehensive report on the Zitharan knowledge. Scientists had verified breakthrough after breakthrough. The medical advances alone would save millions of lives. The agricultural techniques would end famine on multiple colony worlds. The propulsion technology would open up entire new regions of space for exploration. But Marcus also spoke of something else, something more profound. The Queen didn't just give us technology, he told the assembled leaders. She gave us a choice. We can use this knowledge to become conquerors, to expand our empire at the expense of others, as the Zitharans did. Or we can use it to become explorers, scientists, diplomats. We can choose to be better. And what makes you think we won't make the same mistakes? One council member challenged. Marcus felt the telepathic gift stirring in his mind, stronger now. He had been practicing in secret, learning to control it, to understand it, and he knew that eventually he would need to reveal this gift to humanity. Because we have something the Zitharans lost, Marcus replied. We have the memory of their mistakes to guide us. We have proof that mercy is more powerful than vengeance, and we have the opportunity to forge a different path. He paused, feeling the weight of the Queen's final gift pressing against his consciousness. The Queen taught me that true strength isn't about how efficiently you can destroy your enemies. It's about having the courage to show compassion even when it's hard, even when it's dangerous. That's what makes us human. That's what will make us great. The council debated for hours, but eventually they voted to accept Marcus's recommendations. The Zitharan knowledge would be shared freely with all human colonies. Strict ethical guidelines would govern its use, and most importantly, humanity would dedicate resources to peaceful exploration and diplomatic contact with other species. It was a beginning, not perfect, but hopeful. Marcus was promoted to admiral and given command of the new diplomatic fleet, tasked with making peaceful contact with other civilizations. As his ship prepared to depart on its first mission, He stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. He could feel the telepathic gift growing stronger each day. Soon he would need to reveal it, to teach others, to help humanity evolve toward true understanding. But for now, he simply stood and remembered the dying queen who had given him everything. "I kept my promise," he whispered to the stars. "We're choosing to be better." And somewhere in the vast cosmic consciousness, Marcus felt certain that the queen was at peace. 5 years later, the first human telepaths completed their training under Marcus's guidance. 10 years after that, diplomatic relations were established with 3 new alien species, all peaceful. 20 years after the Queen's death, historians marked the end of the war as the moment humanity truly came of age. But Marcus knew the truth. Humanity's real evolution began with a single choice in the command center of a damaged alien ship. The choice to show mercy when vengeance would have been easier. The choice to see an enemy as a being worthy of compassion. That choice had changed everything. It had saved the Queen, yes, but more importantly, it had saved humanity from becoming monsters in the name of survival. It had opened doors to a future Marcus could never have imagined. Sometimes, late at night, Marcus would reach out with his telepathic senses and feel the vast network of human consciousness beginning to connect, beginning to understand each other in ways that transcended words. He would feel the hope, the curiosity, the determination to be better than fear and hatred. And he would remember the dying queen's final words, "You are proof that hope exists in this universe." Marcus had chosen mercy, and the Queen had given him the tools to transform humanity. It was a gift beyond imagination, a legacy that would echo through the ages. In the end, that single choice to spare a dying enemy had saved both species. It had proven that even in the darkest moments of war, compassion could triumph, that understanding could overcome hatred, that a new future was always possible for those brave enough to choose it. Marcus stood on the bridge of his flagship, surrounded by officers of multiple species working together in harmony. Ahead lay new stars, new worlds, new opportunities for understanding and growth. He smiled, feeling the Queen's presence like a warm memory in his mind. They had kept their promise to each other. They had chosen to be better, and the universe was all the richer for it.